Hi Moglets! Today we're going to be raising, building, and showcasing a free-to-play Emilie and seeing if she's worth it. A quick word from future me, some of you know this is at least a partial re-upload. The first few minutes will be the same, but the rest will be new content because a lot of it was the showcase and she was not built optimally, but I don't want to keep this section too long, so I'm going to hand it back over to Past Me for now and I'm going to interject when necessary. How I define free-to-play is C0 and 4-star weapon. That's it. Let's go ahead and start with raising her. We don't have all the stuff we need, so we're going to be talking about that a bit as well. Here's the second to last star, and we actually had everything we needed, but now we do need to do a little bit of farming here. But since the last update, bosses only have a 10-second respawn now. We only got a 2 drop there, so possibly 2 more runs still. Let's see if we get lucky on this one, and we still got 2. Anyway, final run here, and now we get 3, whatever. Last thing we need is 41 more Lake Light Lilies. They are pretty concentrated around here, so they're not too hard to farm, but I did farm a lot of them already around this, so we just kind of have to hope we still have enough. Beep. All right, we can finally get that last star now, getting her up to level 90. Kaboom. Okay, just for reference, here's everything she needs per Ascension, and on the bottom, the totals. And while we're here, we'll do the same thing for talent. Everything she needs per talent level, and then on the bottom, the total she needs to max out 1 talent. And last but not least, everything she needs for her weapon. We're not going to be using it today because this is a free-to-play Emilie, but there you go. Now that she's raised, we're going to go ahead and do the talent overview, and obviously if you know how she works already, feel free to skip this part, but we are going to be going more in depth than like the special program did. Her basic / charge attack is really nothing special. Her charge attack does leave some cool little flower icon sort of things in its wake, which is cool, but ultimately unimportant. Her elemental skill though is really the core of her kit. She'll place a little lamp on the ground that fires Dendro attacks at nearby enemies. The damage from her lamp does not snapshot, which means it will get affected by Emilie's changing stats over the course of its duration. If this lamp is near burning enemies, it will collect scents from them every 2 seconds. And after collecting these 2 scents, it'll be upgraded. And after it gets upgraded, it'll fire 1 extra shot. The damage and AoE of all the shots also get increased. Since the cooldown on her elemental skill is 14 seconds and the lamp lasts 22 seconds, it is easily 100% uptime. Her ultimate, while related to her skill, is kind of separated. It'll basically create a level 3 lamp. This is the only way to get a level 3, but the way it attacks is a little different. There'll be like Dendro attacks raining from the sky. After those 2.8 seconds, the last lamp on the field will be placed again. If you do her burst and she has a level 2 on the field, a level 2 will reappear. With her first passive here, she'll essentially fire 1 extra massive attack for every 2 scents that are collected. Here you can see what a normal lamp attack looks like versus the passive attack after collecting 2 scents. Her second passive gives her extra damage versus burning enemies based on the amount of attack she has. With 2000 attack, which I think is pretty attainable, she'll get 30% damage bonus. And the last passive here, which is usually reserved for exploration, is pretty good for combat. When she has a lamp on field, all party members will gain an 85% pyro-res against burning damage. Since she is quite burning focused, that will be happening often with Emilie in your team. I would usually go over Constellations now, but since I can't actually show what happens yet, we're gonna save that for a later video. However, I will say both C1 and C2 sound pretty good. C1 gives you a decent DPS increase by increasing the things that do damage and lets you get synths faster, and C2 basically 30% Dendro res reduction. So yeah, we get to the weapons now, and this is the main reason I'm redoing the video. Originally, for like half of the showcase, we were playing with Dragon's Bane, and that's really not a super good option for her. EM main stat does increase burning damage a bit, but for Emilie, it's much more important to focus on her personal damage. So for floor 12 in the deleted video, we did like kind of realize this a little bit at least, and just went and raised Missive Wind Spear. So we are right before floor 12 now, but I feel like I gotta reconsider something. Yeah, Dragon's Bane, I think that's the issue probably. So for this new showcase, we're just gonna be sticking with this through the whole thing. If you do plan to go Missive Wind Spear, there's something you should be aware of. This passive won't proc if she's off field. I guess one way you can get around that is lighting him on fire first and then going to Emilie and then just swapping back out. And, you know, even when she is swapped out, she does still have the attack boost, but I mean, it only lasts 10 seconds, so it'll really depend on your rotation speed, how often she has this. Me personally, I don't like to think about these extra things if I can avoid it. Sadly, not a single craftable polearm has attack percent as its main stat. So for a pure F2P weapon, I'm really not sure what to recommend in this case. I mean, White Tassel, which I can't even show here because I keep accidentally throwing them away, has 23 crit rate, so I don't know. If you really don't have anything else, sure. If you have some 5-star options, most of them are going to be decent for her as well. I mean, at the end of the day, you do want to build her as a typical DPS in most cases. Calamity Queller especially comes to mind with this massive attack and the double attack bonus from passive if she's off field, which she will be a lot of the time. I would like to go Deathmatch because it's one of her better 4-star options as well, but it's not free to play. It's a battle pass weapon. As for artifacts, I feel like there's only one good set for her, and that's Unfinished Reverie. I am quite sure this set was made specifically for Emilie, so yeah, I would consider this her signature set. If you never farmed it because you never farmed Fragment of Harmonic Whimsy, Deepwood is an alright alternative. Future me again. Originally, I just gave up on Unfinished Reverie and went with Golden Troop because we were having bad luck. I do have slightly better pieces on Golden Troop and figured Deepwood and Golden Troop are close enough. And to be totally honest, they're not that far off after doing some testing, but Deepwood is objectively better, so I should have at least said that, so I'm saying it now. I've since spent a stupid amount of resin in this domain, and I think we can at least make an okay set now, so that's what we're gonna do. Unfortunately, all those runs didn't net us anything super special, but I think we can still make, you know, a decent set. So after a lot of raising, this is eventually what I ended up with. The biggest issue, believe it or not, I had with the flower. You can see I raised most of the ones I didn't throw away already, and they all just turned out pretty bad. I ultimately just went with this one. Basically, the first plume we raised went incredible though. 13.6 crit rate, 10 crit damage. You know, a little bit of EM there, whatever. Didn't have very many good attack stands, but this is the best one with a little bit of crit rate, some crit damage, and a decent amount of energy recharge for what that's worth right now. Goblet, we're going off piece because we only had 2 on the correct set, both really bad. For the circlet, we're going with this crit rate because, you know, having an attack weapon, it's very hard to get enough crit rate just with substats. It actually didn't roll too bad, basically just 20 crit damage there and a little bit of energy recharge. But for it being an on-piece circlet, I will take it. We raised quite a few Dendro Goblets, and I wanted to start with this pretty amazing Dendro Goblet with 34 crit damage on it, but at the end of the day, we just didn't have enough crit rate. So we went something more middle of the road with 10 crit rate, 11 attack. When we give her her signature, because that does have crit rate main stat, we will probably go back to this though. Before I show the stats, we're going to put her in the team I plan to use her in, which is this Risley BurnMelt. Since we do have 2 pyros, we do get a bit of an attack boost, and we're up to 2468, which I think is pretty decent. The crit stats, again, are a little lackluster. It's the best I could do. I'm assuming, though, the 4-piece set makes up for the slightly better stats we would have with another set. Last but not least, for our Emilie, we do gotta raise her talents. We're gonna be leaving her basic attack alone for now. And yeah, we're just gonna get her E and Burst both up to 8. And there we go. We got 347 multiplier on her level 3 now. And every attack from her level 2 case doing 134 times 2. So it's time to talk about teams now. And there's a couple things I wanna mention first. Emilie is not a support. She's a sub DPS. And she does her best sub DPSing in a burn team. This team, I would say, is one of the strongest variations of a burn team called BurnMelt. It is basically a burn team with Emilie and a couple pyros, but then Melt also with a cryo character. You can replace Risley with Ganyu or some other cryo DPS. Anyway, we will explore a couple of other teams, but there's one other important thing I want to mention. And that's this guy, Kinich, I guess he's called. I'm not gonna get into leaks or anything because I honestly don't know that much, but I've heard through the grapevine, this guy, once released, is gonna pair very nicely with Emilie. He is a Dendro character as well, that much is obvious just from the teasers Genshin themselves have released. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind and not necessarily a recommendation to pick up Emilie because she'll be better later. Because at the end of the day, until these characters are officially released, anything could happen. But yeah, before we move on to do like floor 12 or whatever, I do wanna see kind of what she's doing now, doing the full thing now. So we already, oh, okay, damn. We are seeing some 9300s there. There was a 47 from the passive, but I think that was because I actually swapped out to her and stood in Binny Ring for like that perfect timing. So we still had most of the stacks from her 4-piece artifact set, but also had the attack boost from Binny. That could be a strategy, I guess. That might be a little too complicated for me though. So I just want to see that big passive attack really. She does have to be off field. So yeah, we're really gonna not do anything else, just to focus on this now. So it is level 2 now, and we are still getting some 8700s. Stupid Masanori is always blocking. There was a 36k. I'm almost certain Missive is gone already though. That's so annoying. I don't like how it only lasts 10 seconds. Okay, I give up on Masanori. He's literally just blocking everything all the time. Let's go to Big Bro Magukinki, I guess. And the E-Takes are pretty impressive still as well, doing around 8,700. Not really much less than Golden Troops, like around 9,000. So yeah, of course, if you can manage to get her signature set, that's going to be really good. So when we first ran through Abyss, we were trying a few different teams, mainly just to see how she operates there. I do want to show that section here, but just bear in mind she's in Dragon's Bane and Golden Troop in these clips. So trying not to pay too much attention to Emilie herself, I just think maybe the discussion around the teams was of some value, so I'll play those now. All right, let's go ahead and see what's going on floor 9 here. So we're gonna do the full rotation now. Just start punching away, seeing if we can get some like melts in there anywhere. Yeah, I mean, there was a melt. The enemies are dying too fast, unfortunately. Now we can go ahead and do Emilie's burst because we should get a level 2 lamp on the field after that's done now. So on the second rotation, that's where I'm gonna do the burst. I'm honestly not sure if that's mathematically the best thing to do, but it seems to make sense to me. Since I do also want to try just like a pure burning team, we're probably just gonna use a different team per floor here. Maybe we'll go back to this team for floor 12 because, yeah, I do think it's the strongest Emilie team. I mean, at the end of the day, there's not too much to say on floor 9. I also did want to try her as just a Dendro applicator in like a Hyper Bloom team, for example, where Nahida would usually be. I don't think she's going to do that well in this department, to be honest, but I feel like Hyper Bloom is so busted that maybe it'll work anyway. So with these 3 characters, we would kind of already have all we need. We could throw an extra Dendro in there like Nahida, but I feel like that'd be cheating. I want to see, you know, if she has enough Dendro application, which doubt right now, but all right, here we go. We're gonna place the E down, go ahead and do Xingqiu burst and ease real quick. And then Kuki. I mean, you know, yeah, that's very slow Hyper Bloom. I mean, we can go ahead and do her burst. I think that would give us some more Dendro, and then, you know, we can get Kuki in there. It's working. Sort of. Obviously for floor 10, it's probably fine, but I think to make it work, we would need another Dendro. That would just kind of defeat the purpose of taking Emilie in the first place, though, in my opinion. I mean, with Kinich, or however he's pronounced, coming soon, and he is also a Dendro character, maybe there is something to that. Her sub DPS is decent, but not decent enough outside of a burn team to just not take someone else. So yeah, for Hyper Bloom, wouldn't really recommend until at least C2. For floor 11, we're gonna try a full burn team, obviously in second half here. It's only gonna be Jade Plume, I guess. That is not gonna be weird because everyone else is elementals, but whatever. All right, let's see how this works. So just gonna do all the typical stuff here. Let's throw that down. We'll absorb those debuffs. I mean, so far it's going really well. Obviously in this case, since they're all slimes and we're getting just like free melts from them, you know, hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit more with the Jade Plume at the end there, but honestly, I'm kind of doubting it. Then we got these elementals as well, which, well, might be a bit of a problem because we don't have anyone's burst. We are doing some nice Burge in there though. All right, here we go. Is Emilie's lamp still even on? Yeah, it is. We're gonna actually swap back to her because my Arlecchino's almost dead to do her burst here. I was doing like 28k per tick. I think that actually did a decent amount of damage there. We'll go and do Arlecchino's burst to heal real quick. I mean, it went fine, but again, those were elementals. All right, we got Jade Plume now. So just gonna start it off pretty much as usual here. Unfortunately, I don't think we can get her burst, but I mean, we have enough pyro in this team, honestly. We're gonna go ahead and absorb that. What is the actual burning damage doing? Can we see that? About 1,000? I mean, those are very fast ticks, you know? Yeah, we're getting about 1,000 per burn there. Jade Plume actually has a lot of Dendro resistance. This is why we are looking at the burning numbers and not the Dendro numbers. She does have some EM, but not that much, so the burning is like decent passive damage, I suppose. So we're back. We actually had a lot of trouble first time around going into floor 12. I will leave that out of this video because again, she was at least in Missive Wind Spear for floor 12, but still in Golden Troop, which is obviously less ideal than her signature. So we're just gonna redo that here. This is definitely one of the hardest abysses in my opinion. So yeah, it probably still will be a challenge here, but we're gonna do our best. Well, I am kind of glad we got at least a little bit of energy recharge because it does feel like we are lacking a little bit now. We can do her burst, but it was unfortunately a little late. This of course could vary depending on which team you're using and, you know, the energy recharge of all your other characters. Again, just way too many variables to really say anything concrete. We're coming up, yeah, I think we still will have enough time. It's kind of weird doing this after I've already recorded and edited the weapon video because I ran through floor 12 with her signature and she's obviously a lot better with her signature. I put uploading that on hold because, yeah, you guys know the story, but I will give a little sneak peek and just say her signature does make a pretty big difference. Unlike most weapon videos, I actually do end up using it on her. This one, for some reason, did not go very well. These two dudes were incredibly persistent in not having their shields removed. We have 10 seconds here, so we're gonna not give up, but yeah, it's gonna be very close. We have one more Nuvolette charged in us. Maybe it'll work. No! Oh, I think it did. It said 7 there. Okay, we got all 3 stars, good. Very, very close though. Oh, you son of an ass. As soon as I did my burst, he ran away. And then how long does he stay invincible? Jesus Christ. Oh my God. This one's going horribly. I don't know what's, wow, a minute and a half. I can usually do Magu in about a minute, or I did like last time also. Chamber 2 was never really that hard. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of elites here, but you know, it usually went okay. We'll see though. Still have about 30 seconds. But yeah, this guy is super, super annoying. I don't have like anyone's burst now. He is also kind of RNG. It's gonna really depend on how much he goes invisible here. Yeah, he's already invisible, so we don't have the right reactions here. So like best case, we're gonna be like maybe a minute and a half. We're gonna maybe, I mean, if he reappears ever, you know, in the next like 200 years, we were getting close to about a minute there. So yeah, not too bad, you know, considering we have no Electro. I mean, we went through this pretty quick. We just have the Consecrated Beast left here. We have plenty of time, actually. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot more trouble the first time, and I don't know, maybe it's just because I only played this Abyss once or twice, and at this point, I've played it maybe like 5 times, so I'm just more used to it. So I'm also re-recording the section about if she's worth it or not. Honestly though, I am going to come to the same conclusion as I did have the first time around. I can't really give a definitive yes or no when it comes to her. Maybe someone else can. I do think there are a lot of units that can be used in more teams, because like Emilie's not great outside of Burn, so she is a bit niche. She can do really good sub DPS, and she can do some good Dendro application in other teams, but if you wanted her for Dendro application, I would probably just more go for Nahida. What I would have to recommend for most people right now is to hold off, wait for Natlan and this new character that's apparently supposed to pair very well with her, see what happens, and then, you know, if it is actually something insane, just wait for the next banner she comes in, not the end of the world. In the coming days, of course, we will be exploring more of her potential. Of course, there are ways to buff her personal damage, like at least throwing someone with 4-piece Deepwood in there, but I don't really feel like that's the point. From what I can tell, her best use case is keeping enemies burning as like essentially pyro application for a cryo DPS like Risley. Again, that might change with the release of the new character. We will see. Let me know what you think about her in the comments down below though. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.